Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon takes pride in selling the tools farmers and tradespeople rely on. Like our Winnipeg location, Brandon carries the same tools you know and love. From all the brands you can trust, all in one convenient place. And with unbeatable service, we'll make sure you get the right tools to get the job done. Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools in Brandon, proud to serve Brandon's industrial needs since 2018. Stop on by today at 358 Park Avenue East. And good afternoon, Buffaloes fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the Buffaloes Podcast, episode 26, season 2, here on your home for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, Hockey on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Just realizing something that, there we go. Just have to get rid of one of the cameras, as we had double cameras there to start things off. But yeah, I'm your host, Graham, the G-Show Forsyth. This edition of the Buffaloes Podcast brought to you by Mid-Canada Fasteners and Tools, Terrico, Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. We got a busy weekend ahead of us, Buffaloes fans. Some female U18 AAA content, MMJHL playoff action, as our pay-per-view service off to not a bad start at all. Very excited with how things have started off and excited to see how things are going to grow from here after the first round of the playoffs in that league. But as for the CSSHL, no more playoffs, as it ended off with the U18 Male Prep Division playoffs, as the U18 Male Prep Buffaloes made a run to the finals, but unfortunately fell short. Still a great accomplishment for this group as they continue to grow, as it's only been a few years since they've come into Pilot Mound, and that program has started up, and they've been playing in CSSHL games. But to start things off, we're going to be joined by Gordie Tumilson. I'll then be joined by Rick McConnell and Luke Adam. McConnell, head coach of the U17 prep program, and Adam, their captain. I'm going to have a chance to talk to two champions, and we're also going to be playing you all championship recaps that have been posted on Pilot Mound Hockey Academy's YouTube channel throughout this podcast. But I want to give a special shout out to founder of Pilot Mound Hockey Academy, the head founder, in Rod Collins' 80th birthday. It's been celebrated this week, and yeah, he's also still recruiting for Pilot Mound Hockey Academy. Rod Collins, a legend in the hockey world. The rumor is, and I've had a chance to confirm this in the past, that Rod Collins once coached Sidney Crosby at Shattuck St. Mary's, and yeah, pretty cool accomplishment, and a very accomplished hockey legend here in the province of Manitoba, and of course in the States as well, with Shattuck coaching that world-class program. But we'll get into more news from around Pilot Mound as this episode goes along. But first off, Gordie Tumilson joins this edition of the Buffaloes Podcast to start things off. We got some champions joining us as we continue to talk about playoff hockey here on the Buffaloes podcast. Gordie Tumilson joins another edition of the Buffaloes podcast here to talk about this U18 male prep Buffaloes group to start off. Gordie, they make it all the way to the finals in Division Two play of the CSSHL U18 prep championships. Falling short, of course, but having a strong finish to their season overall. Take us through the U18's final few games of this season in their playoff play.
Well, sure, and congratulations to these guys. I mean, they didn't have the greatest of seasons. It's tough when you're sort of a bottom feeder, but you show up for the tier Division Two playoffs, and not only get to the final, but you have to win. You win the first three games of the tournament, and off you go. And you end up losing two times in a row to the eventual champions. What a neat end to a always an interesting, maybe a little bit frustrating season sometimes. But sometimes when you it's better to finish strong and not to worry too much about what went on before that. So it's a good feeling when you leave. And those kids should have a good feeling about what they did. They played really, really strong. They played really, really well. And it goes to, the coaching staff and the patience and the hard work that the players put in and the coaches put in, all of the things that go along with that. And the end result is the players get better, and subsequently the team gets better. And I think folks forget that. That's why it's player development. Team just sort of falls into place when you're going through the season, and then when you culminate it at the end of the year with a finalist position, that helps us immensely as an organization feel good about ourselves, and also in our recruiting, knowing that the team is a Division Two finalist rather than you didn't even get out of that round of play. So good for the U18s and the other two teams, our champions, the U17s and the U15s. They finished in the finals and a championship too. So good on the boys. Way to go, guys.
Yeah, and this U18 male prep Buffs team becoming the third out of the four teams in the academy to at least make it to the finals. And this is a group, Gordy, that is newer to the academy compared to the other three teams. The newest team before that joining was the U15 prep group. But for this U18 group, it's been struggles on the scoreboard the first few seasons, a bit more success this year, and like you talked about, making it to the finals, huge for this program. What does this say about just the development and really what Pilot Mound is doing to improve their programs one by one?
Well, it says an awful lot. The season is whatever it is because you get into the season and you start off with maybe not the best team and certainly not the best players, and we talk about in the recruitment side of things. We're going to get your boy or girl better in 7 months, and here we are 7 months later, and we're better. So we proved to the parents, and they're funding this thing. I mean, you know, they're spending a lot of money on this and their kid, and they want their child to move forward, to be picked up by a junior team of some sort, or a college team or somewhere, so that there's a place to play. Because you don't want to be going to the beer league when you're 17 or 18 years old. You want to be playing competitive hockey and continuing your improvement as well as getting another chunk of education or experience in life, whatever those things are. So it really means a lot to our program to see the players get better. It's frustrating as hell because we don't end up in first place and get a championship and a big fat ring for the most part. But at the end of the day, the feel good is the players get better and they mature as people. They learn all about that stuff and they get a great education. Many of them are honor students that are on this team. So it's and we foster all of those positives, and we move forward, and so that's what it means to us.
Yeah, and it's great to know that, of course, this team able to make good on that and be able to at least make it to a finals appearance. And as for this group, it was, an old group of Buffaloes players, about 15 players graduating from this program this year. Opportunity to add next season into a group that will have a bit of skill coming back. But I guess looking into that process now, Gordy, obviously this team looking to add from the U17s, but the recruiting side of things, the goal this offseason, I guess, for this U18 group, given their successful finals run.
Yeah, we've got actually there were 13 graduating players, so that's a neat number, which left us with seven guys can come back. And I think they've all been offered the opportunity to come back. And then we've got a group of graduating U17 guys that we hope see the results. And if they don't get picked up somehow in junior hockey or some other place in their grade 12 year, and this is the benefit for the U17 kids. You know, they've come to us maybe for only 1 year so far. They've played 1 year of U17. Now they can come back to Pilot Mound and continue the education in a great school with small classrooms and all those things. Show up, continue to learn there in a very comfortable setting. They know the system, they know the routine now. It's an easier thing for them to do, and then they can improve on their hockey even more and get to that place where they want to get to, whatever that is for them. You know, every child, male or female, is in a different position or different situation. So good on the U17 kids who are able to move up into this the second year of the program for them and move along and get better and enjoy the fruits of their effort.
Yeah, and as for this Buffalo squad, there's also some big time players that played on this year's Academy squad. Captain Austin Polanowski, point per game in the playoffs, leading the way with 7 points. Briggs Olson ends up going 5 points in 5 games played. So, one last thing before we get into the ID cast, but just for this U18 group to not only get their best players playing well, but their best players carrying the load, continuing on until the very end.
Sure, and you count on these guys. I mean, every team counts on their best players. If your best players aren't your best players, you're not going anywhere. And so, for those players, those kids, those young men, young women that carry the load, as we talk about, good on them. You know, good on them to realize that. Good on them to have the mental, emotional capacity to be able to do that. And that augurs well for the future for them as they move into other leagues and other teams and into regular life. They know how to bear down. They know how to, pick the team up and by the scruff of their neck and carry them that extra chunk that they need to. You know, Polanowski is an amazing young guy. I mean, he's already signed at Humboldt, and I think he's probably the only guy that has signed from that U18 so far. And maybe DeBrun has, but anyhow, these guys are they're catalysts. They make things work. They don't let the team drop their head. Make them pick it up, and who knows how that happens. But boy, I'm glad we have a few of those, and every team does, and they're really important and that helps the other guys gain some momentum as well, and they get to understand what leadership looks like. So good on those good players to be good players.
No, for sure. And you mentioned Polanowski going over to Humboldt next season. That junior A squad going to be getting a good one. And the captain of this year's U18 prep squad. As for, I guess, going into the recruiting side of things now, Gordy, since all teams have now wrapped up their 2024-2025 play, we know we got ID camps coming up this weekend, but overall, what's going to be, I guess, the lay of the land in terms of how this team's approaching recruiting? I know we've talked about it before, but just reiterating to our viewers.
Sure. Well, the next 3 months, April, May, and June are critical for next year, of course. All the players in all the leagues sort of become available. Now, half of the kids won't be able to do anything more than play at home. The financial burden of an academy is pretty much it's a big deal. Even even the billeted, players, it's a $30,000 hit, and so, the travel, the expense, the hotels, the meals, the all of those things, the ice rental, referees, I mean, all the games and all those things add up to a big number. Our dorm situation is ideal for safety and security. We bank on kids liking that. We bank on parents understanding and excuse me, and liking that. And so, we sell that part of those. I don't we sell it, but we remind people of that safety is an issue. Our European and Asian players certainly like that idea. They know they're coming to a place where there's a structure, and we keep track of the players 100% of the time. It's not quite like a prison, but sometimes it almost is like that, except it's a freedom place, but there's security and safety, like I said. But ID camps and recruiting is just huge. I met with our major owner Tamis Collins the other night in Winnipeg, and we had a good conversation about recruiting and how important it is to the end result of our teams. We don't have good recruiters. We don't end up with good players, and recruiters are more than just guys who spot players and say, "Hey, I got a guy for you. Here you go." Blah blah blah. We ask our recruiters as scouts or family advisors, to speak to the players, speak to the families, understand our program, and understand that safety and security and on the ice every day, sometimes twice a day, the great competition, all of those things fall into place. So we had a great conversation about that, and this is our second year of sort of full out trying to get full out recruitment as a big deal. That's going to continue to grow, and so we're going to keep moving on that side of things. And so yeah, recruitment and ID camps are really really special. Yep.
Yeah, and you mentioned the cost. I always forget how much it actually costs to play academy hockey and to take that risk. But given that the figures are as big as they are, and that, people may be unsure of coming down to the small town Pilot Mound to play compared to maybe the big city in Winnipeg. But how do you feel at this point that Pilot Mound is kind of, I guess, combated those narratives, like you said? Now with the dorms in play and everything the academy's added, do you feel like the team, I guess, or the academy as a whole, as I should say, is more well prepared now to be able to put out those perks to get people to truly want to come down to play for Pilot Mountain compared to years past?
Pilot Mound ownership management has done everything, literally absolutely everything, to win the favor of people who've got the amount of money it's required to do this academy hockey thing. They have absolutely got everything in line. The league is a first class league. They demand a lot of transparency, a lot of upfront things, medical side of things, emotional side of things. There's all kinds of stuff in the background that we very seldom talk about here, but all of those things are going on. And there's the bullying thing, which we tackle that issue. The league does. The league demands it, and we fall right into place. And so there isn't anything, as far as I can tell, as from a parent. If I was a parent or a player, I couldn't ask for a better place. Now there's other things. I mean, if you want to go to Starbucks, we're not getting that in Pilot Mountain. We're not doing that. Or Timmy's, we're not doing that. You got to go to Winkler for those things. Okay, well, there you go, or Morden. But beyond those kinds of fluffy things, I call them, um, everything is there. And going to school when there's 15 kids in the classroom, what a great deal that is for the student. You've got a problem. You're going to get an answer because you're right there with and the teachers, of course, accommodate everybody in terms of the travel and all the other extenuating circumstances that an academy forces upon the kids. The school is totally, and so after 10 years, 10 darn successful years of looking after kids, growing their maturity, growing them as people, getting more understanding of what real life is all about. um, sort of the farmer way of things almost, you know. It's really neat, but they have done everything, Graham, to accommodate and make sure that every player gets maybe even a better chance of moving forward than maybe the big city guys do. Because the big city guys, they just get lost in the big city. You don't get lost in Parliament. You can't because we can still see you walking away for 3 days on the prairie, so you're not getting lost.
Oh, that's fair enough. And I mean, my first time down to Pilot Mound years ago now, I never even heard of the place. And yeah, it's nice small town that has a lot of passion towards their Buffaloes, and great to know that these players too, not just living in farmhouses, living in actual dorms that have been built in there for a few years by Pilot Mountain, and those are sweet too. Great for all the players that are attending the academy to be able to stay in those world-class dorms. But Gordie, the prep ID camps coming up for the U15 group this weekend, in 2 days' time on Friday. There's going to be U15 players showcasing their skills over at Blackjack Stewart Arena. The focus, I guess, heading into this upcoming weekend, looking to add to a U15 prep squad that will be losing talent, but made it to the finals and made a lot of great strides this season.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough haul for for Colin Pfeffer and Brad Platt for next season if they're back. And I'm assuming both coaches are going to be back. They're certainly going to be at the ID camps. Yeah, you know, replacing Ramage and Landerville are not going to be easy. But there's another Ramage coming up, and we play against him in this U13 program, that double A program that I coach in Winnipeg. He's quite a player. Yeah, they've got quite a hockey family there. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a tough road to hoe on for these U15 guys. But you know, somewhere you find these kids. You know, we've got scouts out there looking every day. We got 3 months to kind of put our team together, and we'll get a couple of kids, maybe three, four, or five of them out of this camp this weekend. I think there's somewhere between 25 and 30 kids coming to the camp, and yeah, and more that could possibly come down the road. In April, if we're not going to fill the team with the ID camp kids, but we'll get a good assessment of what's out there,
Right.
and then we're going to keep plugging away. So yeah, ID camps are important, and we always say, once we get them into Pilot Mound, they go ooh and ah because of the facilities and the friendliness of all of our people, and that's exactly who Pilot Mound is. Friendly people, determined people. You can't get more determined people than farmers. I don't think, as a group, friendly, caring. Those are key words in my vocabulary for this particular program. And once they see the dorms and the arena and the dressing room and the school all set, within 400 yards between the three of them, my gosh, it's pretty easy almost for a mom and dad to kind of. It's easier, not easy. It's easier for the mom and dad to give up their son or daughter, or in this case, be son, to play, in a rural town because they can see what's going on. And of course, we have history now. We have 4 years of this team. We have history. We've had success this year and more over than ever. So good on us to have done all of these things. We just now get to get the players to come there. Once they see the place, pretty hard for them to say no.
Yeah, and some great players that have donned this U15 program's jersey, of course. We talk about them all the time, Carson Carrolls, but most recently, of course, Cole Landerville and Maddox Ramage. Looking forward to seeing what type of players this U15 program is going to bring in. Maybe they bring in the next player, kind of like a Cole Landerville or a Maddox Ramage. We'll have to wait and see, of course, for next season. Hoping that process goes well, Gordy, as well as all the rest of the process for the other teams in the academy during their ID camps. We'll talk about all of those in the upcoming weeks coming up here on the Buffs podcast. But until next time, Gordy, you stay safe out there as always, and enjoy all the great hockey coming your way as well. I know you got a playoff game to watch tonight, so enjoy that. Thanks for coming on as always.
Yeah, one last thing, Graham, before we go with the girls. If you're a female player, 15, 16, 17, that's looking to play and looking for a place to play, RID camps on the 28th of March, 28th, 29th, 30th. Please go to our website, pilotmilehockeyacademy.com, and register. There's still room to get out there and do that. If not, any player that is still looking at the end of March to go. We've got our male guys later on in April, but you can come out to even we continue to practice and have development going on right through to the end of May, so you can still get out and maybe catch a spot or see our facilities, etc., by coming to a practice. So there's still opportunity. Thank you.
And Gordie Tumilson joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast for episode 26, season 2, brought to you by goaltenders McConnell Fasteners and Tools, of course, as you saw on the screen during that interview. We're also brought to you by Terraco and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. But before we get into talking about the U17s and getting into that interview that I had a chance to do with Rick McConnell and U17 captain Luke Adam, recorded it yesterday. Can't wait to show you all that. But want to get into the U18 program to start things off, because the U18s, despite being bottom of the barrel team in the U18 prep division standings this season, really left their mark in the postseason, winning 3 games in a row before unfortunately losing to Coeur d'Alene Hockey Academy twice, once in that final round robin game and once in the final. But this group should be proud, led by a team captain in Austin Polanowski, who, as mentioned, had 7 points in 5 games played during the playoffs, leading his Buffalo squad in that category and being a big impact player until the end of the season. Seeing the U17 players also coming up and making impacts, which Rick McConnell is going to get into in this edition of this podcast in this episode. But for this U18 squad, showcasing their skill and their talent down in British Columbia, as we show you their highlight playoff recap to start things off.
In the ashes of a world unknown, a hero rises all alone. Through the gates face the flame. Through every trial we'll make our name. No matter how dark, no matter the cost, in this world we will not be lost. We're the ones who fight in the night. We'll conquer all, we'll take the light. Through the chaos, through the pain, we rise again, we break the chains. In the shadows we'll be free. In the end we'll claim victory. Rise of the shadows, we claim our crown. In silence, we'll never back down. Together we'll stand, together we'll fight. In the end, we rise in the night.
And those highlights, of course, if you want to rewatch them, are on Palatine Hockey Academy's YouTube channel. But yeah, for this squad, a great finish to many careers as Buffaloes, as they're going to be graduating, as mentioned, with Gordie Tumilson over 10 players. The most notable one, of course, their captain Austin Polanowski. But he's going over to Humboldt down in the SJ. Excited to see what the now former U18 Buffaloes captain is going to do. But as for the U17 Prep Buffaloes, they ended up being the ones to get it done. Congratulations to Rick McConnell and his crew. Going to be joined by him next, along with his captain in Luke Adam. Had to cut the interview a bit short, as didn't get to hear a chance. Luke's final question, cut that question out too, since ended up kicking him out of the Zoom meeting, as we record everything on Zoom for our interviews. But yeah, great to hear about the journey from those two perspectives, one coach and, of course, a big part of that room in their captain and Luke Adams. So McConnell and Adam join the show next. We're going to send it to a commercial before getting into more Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy playoff content here on your home for Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy content on G-Show Productions on gshow.ca. Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, The Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. We got some champions joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. Head coach of the U17 Prep Buffaloes, Rick McConnell, their captain in Luke Adam, number 44, from Paul, Manitoba. Fellas, thanks for taking the time and joining the show here. I guess I'll start off with the simple question. How does it feel to come home, having raised that banner in the Division II playoffs this year in the CSSHL U17 Prep side of things?
Oh, it's exciting. The kids worked really hard. We had an up and down year, but the playoff run was phenomenal. The kids worked their butts off, and it's a great feeling to be a champion. I told the kids it's damn hard to win one, so be proud of what they did.
For you, Luke, being a captain of a championship squad, as well as a team where you're from the province they're from in Pilot Mound, how special is that for yourself personally and your teammates being able to hoist that banner after starting off the playoffs with a loss at that?
Yeah, it was unreal. It was just an amazing experience. Like, this is my third year in the academy, and I guess I have one more coming up, but it was definitely time to win a championship with such a great group of guys. And I think the boys worked really hard, and it paid off in the end. So it was good. It was really good.
You know, for you, Rick, you've had a chance to win a championship before, just before COVID hit. Of course, all these years later, we had a chance to catch up with each other a bit earlier on this season now. And you spoke about the youth, the inexperience of this year's group. How proud are you to see, that group get that type of experience and to pull through in the end together to become champions?
Yeah, it was really good. The kids bought in. Like I said, Danny and I challenged these kids all year. Every game, every practice, we're pushing them, and the young guys bought into what we were doing. We had some really good leadership in Luke and Jack Perrier, Brody Whittick, Z, and a few of the boys that helped lead the way. A lot of those kids have been here 2 and 3 years, and they knew what I'm all about as a coach, my expectations, and it really rubbed off onto our young kids. And our young kids, like the second half of the year, really bought in and gelled as a group. And like Luke said, we had a really good group of kids together that got along, worked hard, and kind of all had the same goal in mind. So putting that all together, it kind of worked out in the end for us, and it's so exciting. I'd won it before, and I really wanted it so badly for Danny, my assistant coach, and these kids that hadn't had a taste, because like I said, it's hard to win those things, and man, it's exciting and fun to be part of winning it.
Yeah, and it could be something that, I mean, could only happen once. So enjoy it, as well as it's a phenomenal accomplishment for a group that's going to be bringing back a good chunk of players next season. But for you, Luke, and this leadership group this season, what was that like, getting to know this younger group of Buffaloes, as well as getting to also show them the ropes throughout this year, all the way accumulating into a championship?
Yeah, for sure, it's good. I think our leadership group is pretty good this year. Um, I I always learned off like last year, like some guys like Carson Carls, Zane Price, like just watch what they do and then just try and bring it down to the youth that we had this year and just know that it's always good to be a nice guy and just show them what like everything to do and just be the right person to look up to.
Yeah, and those players, like you talk about, notably Carson Carroll's a great player, a great example to look up to for sure. And I'm sure your former captain would be proud in Carson to see what this team accomplished this year. But Rick, me and Gordie were talking about it. Seems like your group always drops the first game in the playoffs and then figures it out, going on a run and running the table, going all the way to the finals to face off against the team this team started off against with the loss in North Shore, and this time defeating them 7-0 in the finals. What do you feel like that says about this group in terms of facing that early adversity with a loss, and then being able to find their game and pick things up as it went along, as this team ran the table in BC?
Yeah, losing that first game is not always a great thing, but it didn't hurt us. Again, we're traveling 2 days to get out there, play the next day. It's not easy. It's not easy to get off the bus and come and play the way I expect them to. But really, the first game we played okay. It wasn't a terrible game. I thought we were right there. A couple mistakes cost us the game, but going in, I knew we had to win one of two. Really, one of those first two games. So I was confident we could get one of two and then move on from there. And when we lost the first game, we just told the kids we just got to keep going. Like tomorrow's a new day, which I've been all year. Tomorrow's a new day. No matter what happens, tomorrow's a new day, and do the best we can. And as from then on, our kids just got stronger and stronger. The momentum was building. Some highlights, huge highlights. Like we beat some pretty darn good teams. Like that Stars team and that St. George's were probably could have been in the top 10, right down to the wire. So to beat those two teams was a real huge accomplishment for our kids, and this, especially that semifinal. The final was anticlimactic, to be very honest. Winning that semifinal in the fashion that we did, being down 3-1 with 3 minutes left, tying it up, going overtime, and little Freddie scoring with 1.6 last seconds. It was so amazing. I still can't believe that we did it. Like it was because they're a very, very good hockey team, but our kids stuck with it. Even when we were down, I just had that feeling we were going to do it. And after we beat them, like St. George's was gutted. Like they were stunned at what had happened. And I was very confident going into the final. The kids were so wired and excited, and I could just feel the confidence oozing. And I was very confident. The finals, I wouldn't say we dominated the game, but we very much controlled it. And our goaltending was phenomenal all weekend. Absolutely phenomenal. Both kids and my kids gutted it out. Every single kid had a role, and they did what they had to do, and it all paid off for them. I was so excited to see them get that opportunity and that feeling because it's like I said, I'll say it many times. When I won it in 2000, I wasn't sure I'd get another chance, and here we are, and it still feels great.
Yeah, and who knows what the future could hold too, right? This group could very well be back in a championship or two coming up in the near future. But Luke, I mean, from a player's perspective, and being able to see this team rally like they have many times this season, and then even looking back to last year, this Buffalo's team, this U17 program, very resilient in terms of bouncing back well after a loss, or maybe not as good of an effort as this coaching staff would have wanted out of this group of boys. But yeah, take me through from a player's perspective what that run was like, beating the teams like Rick mentioned, very good wins in the Star Hockey Academy, and stunning St. George's as well on the way to that final.
Yeah, for sure. I think the past 2 years we've had a like really well structured team, and this year we came through it. And just like Rick said, it was a crazy semifinal game there against St. George's, and it was. I mean, I was shaking the whole game, but we got it. We got that done, and then we just moved on to the final, and it was just I couldn't believe it, especially when we got up at least 4-0 against North Shore. I honestly couldn't believe it. I was like, we're actually in a game here. Like we're about to win a championship. It was just so surreal. It was awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, you as well as many players played a huge part in it. Like Rick said, every player playing their part very well. But for you, you go over point per game in the five playoff games. I heard also from Rick that you had a chance to play with the U18s afterwards and getting to join their program. What does this say about, I guess, you as a player getting to shine and showcase your skills on the biggest stage and coming through with that consistency down the stretch here in playoff time when it mattered the most for your squad?
Yeah, I just tried to take it game by game, and just do everything I could to put it on the table for the team. And I think going to U18 was also a big opportunity for me. I was able to showcase 3 out of the 5 games and just try my best, play my best, and just showcase myself in general. It was a pretty good experience.
Yeah, and we could very well be seeing Luke Adam playing with the U18s come next season. We'll have to wait and see for that. But Rick, you had mentioned the wins against St. George's and Star Hockey Academy, and I think we've talked about it this season at points. I've talked to Gordie about in terms of how moments put academy like Pilot Mound on the map. How do you feel like, I guess, the win specifically throughout this run and just the fashion that this team did it continues to grow and put more spotlight on this Pilot Mountain program in general?
Yeah, winning helps, especially for recruiting and putting our name out there. I think it's important. Although we're a small academy, winning's not easy. Again, that's why I tell the boys be happy and excited with what you did, because it's a challenge. And I know everyone, it's the bottom half Division Two, but it's still a huge accomplishment. Um, Beating a lot of these teams in Western Canada, like it's bigger than the kids really understand. It might take some time for it to sink in and to figure out what they actually accomplished. And for our academy, it's huge. Actually, all our teams did very well in the playoffs. As I said, our U15s lost in the final, had a good chance to win. Our 18s, the same thing. I was proud to see 6 of my boys go up with the 18s and help them along the way. And so we're getting there. We keep plugging away in Pilot Mountain. It's a great place to play. Small academy, but it proves um, we're doing well. We're winning some championships. We're moving a lot of kids on, and that's what we're all about.
You know, I got to ask this question to you now, Luke. With all the success these Buffalo teams, all of them have had in the playoffs, all showing some strong stuff. I believe 3 of the 4 teams have made it into the finals at the very least this year. But what have been the vibes like around the academy from a player perspective this year at this point compared to other seasons that you've been here 2 years prior?
I think the vibes are pretty high. All the boys are pretty excited, and I walked in, I don't know, a couple days ago. I walked in from getting back off the bus, and there was a whole bunch of pictures and a whole bunch, like everybody celebrated for us, and it was just awesome. And just like Rick said, the academy's really, like, it's a really good academy, small town, small atmosphere, but it's like improved so much. I remember 3 years ago, I said this last time when I was on here, that we used to work out up in the room there in the rink, and it just came such a long way. The facility's amazing.
Yeah, and everything is kind of all led up to, what we're seeing now. I mean, continuing to see improvement throughout the teams in the academy, the facilities and everything upgrading. And I guess I'll leave you off with this question, both of you, because Rick, you're going to be here next year. Luke, you'll still have 1 more year in the academy. But what's the excitement level? I mean, heading into next year, knowing that this program is going to be, of course, looking to continue to improve and, of course, defend a championship. And Luke, you could be moving up to the U18 program. But even though I guess it's in the future at this point, yeah, the excitement level for both of you guys heading into next year. We'll start off with you, Rick, and then Luke, you can end things off.
Yeah, we're already in the mode of recruiting and planning ahead for next year. And my goal every year is to win a championship. I know it's not always feasible, but we want to build a team that's competitive and get to the playoffs, and anything can happen. I know there's a lot of excitement around. I'm excited because a lot of my kids, like I said, moved up, played in the playoffs with U18. They'll all likely move up to the U18 program, which is good. That I feel I'm doing my job, moving them to the next level. And Anthony can take them now, and maybe they can do something at the U18 level. So I think where everything's going good around here. There's excitement amongst all four teams. Again, it's a tough time of year though, recruiting, getting guys, getting more guys in here because we some kids come and go and move on to junior or 18s or whatnot. So, but no, it's exciting times, and like I said, winning a championship is brought a lot of life to the academy. And as you can tell with Luke, those kids are pretty excited.
And Luke, Adam, Rick McConnell joining this edition of the Buffaloes podcast. We're running short on time here, Buffaloes Nation, as we're supposed to be starting the MFHL podcast up in about 20 minutes here. We got a lot of content still left to get into, but for this U17 group, I mean, a chance for a bunch of players in this program to move up another level to the U18 team next season with a shot to do that. But they end up having 10 different goal scorers throughout the playoffs, a few different players that were over a point per game, including Adam, Frederick leading the way, of course, and this team getting huge stops when they needed it from their goaltending. And what we're going to do now is show you the recap from the U17 Prep Buffaloes championship run via Pilot Mountain's YouTube channel. And the U17s, a look at how they ended up bringing home the second ever championship banner that program has won, and it's the second ever championship banner in Pilot Mountain's history in total, as the U17 program has been the only program to be able to outright claim a championship. And I think that it serves as a lot of motivation for the rest of the programs. It's just great when your academy, one of your teams, is winning. And also seeing two of the teams going to the finals, 2-3 in total. The U17s, of course, with the championship win, the U15s and U18 male prep Buffaloes making it all the way to the championship finals in Division 2 play in their respective divisions. And as for the U18 female preps, talked about it last week, a team that, although they didn't come away with wins, they ended up battling hard in every single game. So because we're running short on time for this episode, our plan was to show you the U15 and U18 female prep Buffaloes playoff recaps as well. Those are available on Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's YouTube channel if you want to check them out right now, because we're going to be saving them for next week's episode. Yeah, a lot of content that's been played in this episode so far. We're going to continue and extend our playoff recap into next week's episode. But we still have some stuff to announce, of course, as once again I'm going to show you the championship picture from the U17 Prep Buffaloes. I'd say picture of the year with the U18 female program in the background, right? And just a moment in history that Pilot Mountain can add to as they continue to grow as an academy. As for the future of this academy, well, right now, this weekend actually, they're running their U15 prep evaluation camps all the way till Sunday. Coming up next week, we're going to have the U18 female prep evaluation camp. So all information is on their website as well as on their social media. Be sure to sign up today if you are a U18 female hockey player and may be interested in giving Pilot Mountain a look. This could be a perfect opportunity to do so. As for Buffalo's founder and current recruiter in Rod Collins, celebrated his 80th birthday yesterday. Said a day ago on Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy's X account. But yeah, Pilot Mountain had a chance to celebrate not only Rod's 80th birthday, but also their student athletes and the achievements that they had throughout the month of March and plenty more. Just a celebration of what's been a very successful season in Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, as it was a little party thrown for everyone, including Rod.
I love my family. I really do. I love my family. I really do.
Okay, so welcome to our March birthday party for everybody who had a birthday in March. You guys can stand up and we'll do a clap at the end, okay? We invited a few of our family and friends here this evening to also celebrate your birthdays, but also Rod, who is 80 years young.
Family, I really do.
And great to see Rod Collins honored, as well as the great student athletes over at Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy. And yeah, apologies Buffaloes fans, as we're going to cut this episode a bit short. This has been long enough already, over an hour already at this point, an hour and 5 minutes. I want to thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon. We'll be back next week. Full details will be coming on our social media pages as well as on our website. I want to thank you for tuning in, Buffaloes Nation. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like as well as consider subscribing, as we're not quite done yet. We still got podcast episodes to come, and by subscribing and turning on notifications, it helps you stay up to date with when these episodes drop by getting a notification of when they come out, as well as if you leave a like. Well, it just helps us out in general here on the network. But if you just watch this to view this episode and this episode only, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want the full playoff recap for all teams in the academy, as we haven't gone to the U15s and U18 female prep videos as of yet, be sure to tune in next week. We want to thank our sponsors in Terrico Goaltenders, McConnell Fasteners and Tools, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for sponsoring another edition of the Buffaloes podcast. For you female hockey fans, if you want to hear about what's been happening from around the latest in U18 AAA news here in the MFHL, be sure to stay tuned for our MFHL podcast coming out soon. 4 p.m. is what we're aiming for here, so that's coming up shortly. We're gonna go and send you off with that. Good vibes into this weekend. Have a good one, Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy fans. We'll leave you off with Tyson Unruh and his March of the Buffalo anthem here to end things off on this Friday afternoon. Everybody take care.